Good afternoon, everyone. I always come after the lunch when the digestion is going down. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, my name is Danilo Pagano. I'm heading up customer engagement at Sandoz. And today I will speak to that, how to implement a transformation like the Omni-channel transformation in a very complex environment, like a pharmaceutical company. In my case, and I don't want to appear arrogant, a little bit more complicated because it's a generic company. I was very much excited this morning about AI and, a lot of, let's say, interesting. Okay, thank you. Interesting initiatives on AI. I make a promise here, I will never mention AI in my presentation. It's not the case, which is also a way to be innovative today, right? So maybe a little bit about Sandoz, just because, first of all, we are a new standalone organization, I think since October last year, and secondly, because it's useful to understand the complexity that we face as customer engagement people in the organization on daily basis. So as I said, it's separated from Novartis last year, and of course, this is the first full year, 2024, as a standalone organization. And I can say here that we are the larger generics and biosimilar company in the world. What I mean by that is that we serve, I think, more than 700 million. You can see 500. This slide is a little bit old, outdated, but I didn't have any intention to update. Otherwise, it has to go through a legal review, and it will take 6 months to be approved, right? So we serve a lot of people, a lot of patients, 700 million in more than 100 countries. So the first really challenge is the coverage. And believe me, it's quite spread, the organization, across the globe. Then it's about products. Generics drugs are all those medications that go through LOE and they're available on the market. Sandoz is in a kind of peculiar situation. Yes, we are generic, but we are still perceived because of the, let's say, heritage of the brand as not as a generic company itself, but more something in between a normal pharmaceutical company that from a generic standpoint we call originators, and this is something that I've learned joining Sandoz, and the generic company. I deal with 25,000 SKUs, almost. And this is the second level of complexity. For many of the pharmaceutical company, there is this, the Pareto rule, 8-20, right? That means 80% of the business comes from 20% of the medications. In my case, it's the other way around. We have the long tail that is really our business with a lot of products, and then we need to look after all of them. When I say a lot of SKU and products means that the same medication can have a different look and feel, different name, even different indication per market. So now try to imagine it from a customer engagement standpoint, how this can be complex to manage when we want to promote products among physicians. So the second level of complexity is the number of products and the variety of products in our portfolio. The third point is that, yes, we have a broad, let's say, markets across the globe, but we are also addressing, when it comes to target customers, different, what we call archetypes. It's not only healthcare professionals, that is the place where I come from, mainly. My 2 previous experiences in pharmaceuticals are very much healthcare engagement. On average, I would say 33% of these type of engagement brings the number of revenues that is almost 10 billions. Other 30% is pharmacists. So we have a different target audience that are the pharmacists, and then the remaining is really tender or healthcare people in the different authorities in the different markets. So it's very complicated. And when you want to bring an omni-channel transformation with this, let's say, 3 main levels of complexity, it's not an easy job to do. On top of these, of course, I mean, as I said, Sandoz comes from a history of being a division, a generic division of Novartis. Now we are a standalone company, so we are also building our technology landscape. We are building our processes, and when it comes to customer engagement, also our omni-channel approach. Something that is new to me on top of these topics I've already mentioned is that, and this also the reason why I joined the organization last year is that it's one of the few pharmaceutical companies, at least to my knowledge, that puts together the IT people and the digital people. I'm a digital person by background, together in a technology organization to have the full responsibility end-to-end when it comes to the technology, but also to the processes, and then also to when it comes to our stakeholders, who is the business or commercial organization, in terms of bringing their needs and their requirements into the technology team. So this is a little bit more or less the main challenges that we face every day as customer engagement. And as you can see here, it's also the situation that I found when I joined, right? It's a typical multi-channel approach. Nothing new, I believe, for many of you. It's what I call shooting in the fog. That means you have channels, that means you have tools, you have a potential campaign, and then you start your communication through different channels in the different markets, maybe in some markets with some of these using maybe a channel that is way more popular compared to others that are less popular, right? So with this in front of me as a reality, I thought, okay, now we have to move this into an omni-channel organization that looks more like this. It's an holistic approach. You know many, of these kind of situations, right? I'm referring to those colleagues from the pharmaceutical environments. But my point is, one thing is to come and say, okay, this has to be done, and the different level of complexity is to implement this omni-channel in an organization that is fragmented, that addresses more customers, different archetypes, that is managing 25,000 SKU, and that is present in more than 100 markets, covering 700 million patients. It's also a cultural thing, of course, right? And I think one of the biggest challenges is this change management, at least to bring back the focus on customers rather than to the products, and trying to be very effective when it comes to customer journeys or customer campaigns. So what I did as a first step, of course, was to nurture the culture of the company and try to educate people that the multi-channel world is very much towards digital asset creation, campaigns creation in isolation. The content is not customized for customers. The content is not adapted to the right channels. And when I say shooting in the fog, is that nothing is measured. Now, something that I have in common my experience in the different pharmaceutical companies that usually market teams celebrate when the campaign is launched, and not when campaign is running and they measure the results. Because very often these results cannot be measured. With Omni-channel, with the marketing automation, with the different tools, it can be Salesforce marketing, it can be Adobe, whatever, you can measure this impact on customers. So the first step was really to educate the organization in the different marketing teams, in the different markets or commercial organization, that with Omni-channel, you can customize your communication, you can measure the impact of your communication at customer level, at individual level, across the different archetypes, which was something completely new for them. It requires a lot of time, and of course, again, it's a mindset shift where the organization usually reacts in the usual kind of way to react, right? My customers are different, my patients are different, and then you have to challenge every time this feedback or this pushback and really go through a practical approach where you can also share the results and see how this can have an impact on your communication. What I did and what it's still under, let's say, running, because I mean, this was started less than a year ago, is to select a couple of countries that can be your ambassadors in the future. I've tried already this in my previous experience, it works, because then it's commercial people or marketing people communicating or speaking to other marketing people, and they can say, look, this works, this is really what can bring value, and we see the results in terms of impact for our communication. That's what is currently happening in the organization. Of course, then what has to come afterward is we need to scale this up into the entire organization, into the entire markets. Now, you can see here on the slide what I call the 3 pillars, right? And within this complexity, within these different target audience, variety of products, and you know, kind of geography, something that was a very good news for me was the presence already of a, you can call hub, you can call GCC. Today, I think it's quite common to call Global Competence Center or COE, right? This element is crucial. It's crucial because omni-channel triggers very much a centralization of the process. Centralization triggers standardization, triggers harmonization. And of course, it's another big step and another big change in people's mindset in an industry that is very reluctant to change. This reluctancy can be just fought with the approach that we believe that these bring value. You can bring practical example or true numbers, real life numbers where you can show the impact on the communication, and at the final stage also that you are selling more medications and you are serving more patients across the globe. So the Global Competence Center, or every kind of entity that is used to centralize, for example, the production of customer journeys or the production of assets, is crucial to have an omnichannel transformation in place. Luckily, this was already there, was working in a different way and not really serving the purpose. It took a few months for me to just kind of, reshape the approach, but in the end of the day, it's serving already several markets in Europe and also US, and this is already bringing results in the organization. And when I say results, it's top line, of course, because with the same number of sales rep or with the same size of the field force, we can reach more customers, so we can increase our footprint on the ground. Bottom line, because this increases efficiency. It's economy of scales, right? So you centralize many of the processes that today happen at market level, improving these processes. Of course, I mean, there must be also an agreement, right? What I usually say is this transformation takes place and happens if there is the combination of a top-down approach, that means full sponsorship and endorsement by the leadership of the organization, but also bottom-up means that, again, you have some markets where you pilot or experiment what you're doing, and when it works, then you go with them, and you, with them as an ambassador, and you evangelize the entire organization that this is the right way to proceed. So bottom-up, it's also improving efficiency. We are centralizing a lot of processes in communications, in the commercial campaigns. It's also a lot about customer journeys. So another big shift that we are pushing in the organization is moving from a digital asset creation, what I call the one-stop shop, right? And markets come to you and say, oh, look, I want this, I want that. This can also jeopardize your effort and put you in a corner because it's very difficult then to serve every single market, even with an army of people. But moving from this into a customer journeys approach, leveraging on marketing automation, this is something completely different. Because the strategy, at least that we have at Sandoz, is that for the big markets, we co-create with them these journeys for the rest of the organization. I mean, they have, I think, a little bit of flexibility, of freedom to adapt those journeys, but more or less the journeys are there, and they will stay the same through the customer experience into the different markets. The second element is data. As I said, and I was not surprised, honestly, there was really very little knowledge and culture of measuring results, measuring data. And this is another big shift that requires time and effort. And I mean, what I was already aware when I joined is that marketing automation is very much driven by data, right? So you need to have the right data in place, you need to measure every single interactions, you need to have all the data flying in the same place, call it CDP or activation platform, whatever, because then the principle of marketing automation is that campaigns are improved based on data automatically at individual level. This is also something big in this industry. I never give for granted that these data people are available. Something that I've also faced in the past is, let's say, difficulties in hiring data people. And I don't know if you have experienced the same, because data people are quite plug and play. They can be in every industry, right? And I don't know why pharmaceutical industry doesn't sound the most exciting adventure for them. Maybe you know the reason. And so you have two kind of situations, right? Either they don't join, or if they join, they can easily leave, because, I mean, they can also be headhunted by someone else. But this is a crucial component, and again, in the DNA of the organization, this was really kind of big gap, and I don't believe we are the only one. The third element is the change management, and I spoke to that already. It's a big shift, it's a big change. I think this is the most conservative and reluctant to change industry ever. We can speak to AI, we can speak about everything, but this is, and when it comes to commercial organization or MySpace customer engagement, people are even more practical. They want to see tangible results. Otherwise, I mean, they go nowhere. These are just few examples of the deliverables or the initiatives that now we are introducing into the organization, centralizing, harmonizing, standardizing. For the sake of time, I can go quickly to my personal secret recipe, and then I can open the stage to the question, if any. To be successful, being mindful that this process, I think nobody is in the end of this omnichannel transformation. Nobody is in the end of this journey. It's, I think the entire industry in different steps or in different points are in the journey. But for the so far knowledge I've learned is that, first of all, as I said, you need to have a clear commitment from the senior leadership. This is a top-down, bottom-up approach, but if you don't have the commitment, this requires and triggers a big change, a big mindset shift in the commercial organization that is very reluctant to this type of change. If you just consider that you are kind of, shifting or moving power from the markets into the global organization, because then you control more of the process, it's a big change for them. The second point is build versus buy. I'm a big fan of buy. I don't believe we are, our purpose is to sell software or to sell apps. Maybe some apps like this morning, I saw the presentation is for digital health purposes, different. But we produce medicines. And we still have problems in that because there is a big shortage in the supply chain across Europe in many pharmaceuticals, right? So I'm a big fan of build, and plus when, in buy, plus when you build, you customize a lot. And when you customize, man, if you need to get out of it, it's painful. It's painful. Data recommendation, of course, I said harmonization. It's another big element. I can speak for hours to that, but I mean, I would like really to hear your question. Market involvement, this is the bottom up, right? Commercial organization is reluctant, they want to have the control. Patients are different, my customers are different. Please prove me that this works. And this is the bottom up process. upskilling people. When you don't have, you cannot hire, so many people, like, the data scientists, the data engineers, maybe you have also opportunity to upskill your people. Plus, Omnichannel is also kind of triggering a big change in the type of resources that we have, especially in the markets, right? The digital marketeers or the normal marketeers can evolve into a specialist into the marketing automation solution, but also collecting data and helping the system to improve the journey itself. So it's a slightly different profile, and this is needed to run the overall machine at the global and the market level. And the last is communicate. This is a difficult topic. It's not easy also to nurture this culture in the organization. You need to communicate wherever you want, in every kind of moment, because people tend to get into the default situation, which is very much on the other end in the multi-channel approach. This is from my side. I think time is up, but maybe I can have time for 1 or 2 questions. I don't know, but this is it from me. Thank you very much. One question.
Yes. Hi, thank you for a really concrete presentation. A question is about, you said there are 2 pillars, so global hub, absolutely I agree, and data. But I think there is one thing that I would like to know, what is your experience about integration between global, local hub, and CRM when it comes to medical and marketing? How it works in your system?
In my case, look, I need to do here a disclaimer. Being a generic company, the medical component in Sandoz is not relevant as in a normal pharmaceutical. Sure. But having said that, they can easily coexist. What we have in our global digital hub is a group of physicians, and they are medical writers, so they write and adapt content for the customer journeys. And when it comes to CRM, it's the same. So we took the decision not to go for a medical CRM. We have the same CRM for field force and medical people, of course, with the proper firewall situation, and it works perfectly.
Okay.
So that's
Thank you.
The way, yeah. Maybe another question, and then, sorry about that.
I have a question in kind of the same area. You were talking about this 360-degree view on customers. How do you integrate and manage third-party platform data here? So not your own performance data on your systems, but rather data you...
Currently, we don't integrate third-party system into our ecosystem. We do have some countries where this has to be done, and we are in conversation with them, and especially in those markets where, in complete transparency, we don't have consent from customers, right? And we promote things through third parties. In that case, it's yes, but it's still ongoing. Okay, I think it's all from my side. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day.